The top-down Softie sweater asks for both right and left make ones, and they also ask for knit and purl versions. So I thought the simplest thing to do would be to show you on a small swatch. And first of all, we're going to do the knit version. A make one stitch is when you pick up and knit into the bar of yarn between two stitches. Now for our make one right on the knit side, we use the tip of our left needle and we come from the back to the front. You can make it neat by just giving it an extra little tweak there. So I'll do that once more. You come from the back to the front. So you're making a new stitch on your needle. And then you knit into the front of the stitch. So I've made one extra stitch there. Knit a couple, and I'm going to do that again. So I use my left needle. I come up under my loop from back to front so that I've made a new stitch. And I knit into it through the front of the stitch. Once more. For my right leaning ones, I come from back to front with my left needle and knit into the front of the new stitch. For the left one, I use my left needle again and I go front to back to pick up my loop, and then I knit into the back of the stitch. Let's do that again. For left leaning, I'm going front to back, and then I knit into the back of the stitch. Front to back, knit into the back. I found it helpful in the past to write these instructions out on a little card or something, so I always know which is which. Now I'm going to quickly purl back across that row, and then we'll take a look at what it looks like. Let's have a little look at how those stitches are. So over on this side, you will see our make ones slightly lean to the right. And if we look over this side, our make ones slightly lean to the left at the bottom of each one. You'll see it as you knit them. There's a good example there. You can see it leaning nicely there to the left. And the idea of this is if you always do the left leaning ones on one side and the right leaning ones on the other side of your seam, you'll get a nice, neat finish. And we'll look at that on the sweater in a minute. But first, I'm going to show you how to do the purl ones. So now I'm at the start of a purl row and I'm ready to do the make purl versions. We're going to start with the left ones on this case. So I'll just purl a couple of stitches and then we'll give it a go. So if you remember from our knit stitches, when we were doing the left leaning, we were picking up with our left tip from front to back. And we're doing the same thing again. So I've gone front to back, and then I'm going to purl into the back of the stitch. This is the slightly fiddly version, this, especially with chunky needles. There we go. And we'll purl a couple, and we'll try it again. So left needle goes front to back, and we purl into the back of the stitch. And then let's do a few stitches. We'll do the right leaning one. Right, now let's have a look at how we do the right ones. So this is a make one purl right. So this time I'm going to go from back to front with the tip of my needle. and I'm going to purl it normally. So I'm going back to front and purling it normally. So again, if you write those all out on a notepad or whatever is the easiest way to make sure you understand what's happening. And after you've done a few rounds of your sweater, you'll find they'll come naturally to you. So we're just going to take a look at how these increases sit on your actual sweater. I've picked one of the shoulder seams here, and you should be able to see the 2 columns of knit stitches going down what will look like a raglan seam. And on either side, you can see increases and the stitches fanning out as you get bigger on your chest and on your sleeve areas. And if you look carefully, you'll see that because we're doing left and right increases, the little loops for your increases face the opposite way on either side of your seam, giving you a very neat finish. And that's why we use the left and the right make ones in this type of pattern.